Hi, my name is Tor Dragan from AppAppeal. I'm here today with John Ashenden, Creative Director at Grooveshark. As you may know, AppAppeal gives AppAwards the best design applications in the world. Today, I am happy to announce that the winner of this award for the music category is Grooveshark. Mr. Ashenden, congratulations to you and your team.
Thanks.
Can you tell us a bit more about Grooveshark, your company, and your app?
Yeah, Grooveshark is a music streaming service. We bill ourselves as a search engine for music, all the music, something we started about 5+ years ago. And since then, we've grown into an international service supporting over 36 million users around the world with an employee base of over 100 right now, spread out between, I would say, 4 different locations around the world.
In your opinion, what sets your app apart from all the other music apps out there?
I'd say the most obvious difference from the other music apps is the 100% free nature of it. But going a step further, it's the breadth of catalog. Unlike most services, our music platform is built by the audience that listens to the music. So, along with consuming music, they're also supplying music as well as the artists. And so what you end up with is a catalog of not just larger, more popular content, but you get live recordings, remixes, DJ mashups, pretty much any recorded content you can find on Grooveshark.
How did you get the inspiration for Grooveshark? Where did you start?
Well, the inspiration didn't come from me. It was our founders, Josh Greenberg and Sam Tarantino, who had the original idea for the service. But the original inspiration came from trying to find a way to replicate online the buy, sell, trade model for CDs, which was the early approach that we had to our business in creating a resource online for individuals to legally trade MP3s with each other, compensating copyright holders, content holders, publishers, etc., while finding a way to compensate users for sharing their music in what would be a legal system. Since then, we've moved into streaming as we saw the internet kind of drifting in that direction, as well as what our audience was actually asking for and hungry for was a streaming music service as opposed to a file-based music service. And then ever since then, it's just been like a fast evolution towards what you have today. I think our product is, at least the web product, has gone through about 6 or 7 major iterations and redesigns since we launched the first version of our streaming music platform in 2008, and we still have many more changes on the way.
What was the next step after the inspiration? So after you decided to emulate the changing the transfer of music from the labels to users, how did you start the company exactly? What were the first steps? The design, prototype?
Yeah. Well, actually, before I joined up with the company, I came in about 6 or 7 months in. The original founders and some early employees had put together a prototype that allowed for transfer of files between computers, which then we began to build out an application shell for on the web, serving as kind of the visual layer for what was actually happening behind the scenes. It had a streaming component, it had a light social layer. But like I said earlier, after about a year and a half, we drifted more towards what we call like a kind of a Google search approach for music, where as you can see on the site today, we've really kept true to that same approach, at least from an interface perspective of a large search bar which gets you in searching for music from the second you hit the page. Because again, at our core, we're, like I said, we're a search engine for music. Hopefully anything that you would type, you'd be able to find. And yeah, so all of our changes over the years have been just how can we make that process simpler, faster, cutting down barriers, while keeping with our core of searching for music, and then adding in all the secondary features that you would expect in a music service, like a collection of songs, playlist building, sharing, profiles, music profiles, And then there's a litany of other features that we've just had, kind of in writing and in our back catalog of things, but just haven't had necessarily the time to approach.
So after 5 years of developing Grooveshark, where is Grooveshark heading?
That's a good question. When we first started this, I don't think any of us really at all thought it was going to get as large as it did. But that would branch into as many different avenues as we have as a company. What a lot of people see is just what they see on the web on grooveshark.com is just this website for listening to music and sharing it with their friends. But in all honesty, there are several other operations going on within our company, all interrelated and intertwined with music, from the most obvious being product. There's a lot of business-to-business relationship going on with regards to devices and trying to find ways to drive up our subscription revenue through our device tier. There's an entire team dedicated to artist development and industry relations. So they're actively working with artists, both large and small, trying to develop them in a cost-effective and fast, targeted manner using the Grooveshark platform. If you go to our site today, you'll see a lot of promotion that we do with our artists on the site, which proves very effective. And then, there's also an entire operation here out of our New York office, which is dedicated to advertisement. Again, a large revenue driver that keeps our product alive. And then a litany of other departments that, are prototypes that we're building of other products, people pursuing new devices. For every team, there's a fully functional product team behind it, management team behind it, individuals with business interest, individuals with promotional interest. All of this is working kind of in parallel, at 1 million miles per hour.
Can you share some tips for developers trying to start up their own company to create their first web apps?
Yeah, I'm sure that kind of conversation could go on for days, but the best tip that I could give is don't think that you know it all, or that you have the right idea going into it. What you go into it with really is your inspiration, and you should really let that be the core thing that leads you, and not necessarily the original feature set that you start out with. Be willing to let your product evolve. Be willing to take the advice of not only the team that's building it with you, but the audience that actually is engaged in using your product. Because you might go into something thinking you're serving a particular audience, but only to find out that the actual core audience that you have is looking for something different or a different spin on what you have, and being able to, adapt, evolve, and change what your company is and what your product is really critical to becoming successful. I think no space is more obvious than the media, in particular the music space, to that approach. The other thing I would say is, be willing to build quickly and iterate on top of that. I'm definitely an advocate of quality design, and find myself often trapped in the constant cycle of design, redesign, trying to get what I feel is a perfect approach to a product. But often what that will lead with is continued dissatisfaction with what you're doing and a delayed approach to the release of your product, which really is critical to gaining traction in the marketplace. In the music space, things are changing quickly. In the past 5 years, we've seen countless music services, hundreds of music services, drop off due to a variety of reasons. And I think, one of the true reasons why we've managed to stay afloat, aside from our amazing employee staff, is the fact that we're able to put things out quickly, and learn from our mistakes and evolve our product around that.
So be willing to change, learn from mistakes, and follow the trend, especially if you're in the music industry.
Right.
Yeah, to sum things up. At AppAwards, we are very enthusiastic about applications, web apps. So one of